so far in the series against Jeter. We're going to do this fucking thing over again because I just fucked it up.
Discussion, but it's nothing when you stop and just say fuck it, cause you walking out in public and you hear them talking rubbish. I just wanna ride through the city in a cutlass, find a big buck, bitch, somewhere get my nuts kissed. That's the way it.
Good morning, Vietnam! We are back here. Thanks for tuning in to 4333 The Hawk. It has been a crazy week up to this point. We almost lost one member of the squad over the weekend. There are pending lawsuits against the Hawk. We'll get into those a little bit later. But thank you for tuning in once again. I'm joined with Comerica, Ben Weemus, back from the dead.
Alive and breathing.
And Macaque Free, as always.
It is switching to Ty's tent. This is the last change. I believe this will bring good luck to the squad. I'm hoping, at least, you know.
Macaque Free kind of just it flowed off the tongue very smoothly. I really like that.
You know, McCaffrey just hasn't been playing well with the name. I don't know if he's worried that I'm going to get in trouble or it's going to be trademarked. I don't know. It's in his head.
Right.
So, got to get away from it.
And he's your top player, so you got to make sure he's happy. Macaque Free Panthers wasn't getting it done here. What we're going to do here, what we got laid out for the viewers today, we go through some reaction for Week 3. A lot of reaction after Week 3. We're going to go through some big injuries that happened, some pickups in our league as well. We'll go through fan favorite bit so far. We've been told the suspect move
Of the week.
We'll go through some matchups then, or all of the matchups, I should say. We'll go through our matchup of the week. We're going to go through our Boomer Bust players, like always. And then my favorite segment is the questions to the commish. It just kind of winds down the podcast, it seems. That's what we got on the docket for you guys today. I'm going to start over with Comerica. Good to have you back, my friend. What were some reactions to Week 3 for you, my friend?
You know, I honestly was pretty much out of commission on Sunday, so I couldn't really be happy. But hey, I'm 3-0, baby. Can't be happier. One of the 3-0 teams. But unfortunately, someone on our table is 0-3 as well, so I kind of want to be respectful to him. I am happy that someone else in the house got a win finally.
Thank you.
And it was a blowout win, actually.
They were partying at the farm. Let's just say it was Monday night, but Sunday night it was basically locked up. Yeah, it feels good to get your first win, definitely. Did anyone else in our league I was trying to look at get their first win?
Eric Chuba did.
Eric Chuba, welcome to the winning club.
Someone had to get a win in that one. He put up a lot of points. A lot of points were scored this week, it seemed like. A lot of high-scoring players. Maybe not on some teams. So there's like this guy named Macaque Free Panthers. I'm not sure who that is.
Ty's tent.
I know, my bad. I just changed on my screen to Ty's 10. Now I know who it is. I was kind of confused at first. Not that many points. For me, it got a little bit interesting on Monday night for a little bit there, but the squad pulled it out.
You're sweating a little bit.
Sweating a little bit.
Sweating a little alcohol out of you still. I might point out. Macaque Free tent. What? 105. You were almost in that disrespectful range of double digits.
Yeah.
What do you think's going wrong, dude?
My guys aren't kind to each other, and I think they're not gelling, because I don't know what the deal is, if they're feeling the pressure that McCaffrey's going to consistently drop 25, and they're stressing, a.k.a. Todd Gurley dropping a 4.3 bomb. Embarrassing, but whatever. It's early in the season. I've seen a lot of good things from some teams, and some teams are getting lucky. All right? And some teams are just not performing, such as myself. So, I think there's a lot of change that will happen the rest of the year is my take so far.
The only team that didn't score that big triple digits was Drogans. You got close, 96.8. Anything that we want to say to Drogans after that shameful performance?
I think he's the worst team in the league right now.
Oh, God.
With the best player potentially on his team in Patty Mahomes.
I think that last year it seemed like a couple of players that he drafted. He's drafted the same type of team where he just kind of balanced the entire lineup out. But he's not. Well, two things. One, he hasn't had a big trade yet to strengthen his team with a stud.
He could change that, though.
He could change that. And two, his players haven't been performing. I think David Montgomery's been probably the biggest disappointment in fantasy overall, I think, in terms of all the hype that he was getting coming into this year. And that's obviously being a rookie. And I think just overall his receivers have all kind of been hit or miss, like Diggs, Calvin Ridley had a big week 2, came back in week 3 and did nothing. Ty is hurt now too. So
Right.
I think it's a very inconsistent team, and right now probably the worst team in the league.
Well, and that team too was a 70-yard run from Leonard Fournette away from putting up sub 90. I want to point that out as well. Another thing that surprised me, Potop Cullen Bottom, the commish, goes to 2-1. Looking at his team, it's kind of like, not very good, but he is the commish, so he does have a little pull. Then the touchdowns kind of fallen off after that huge week 1. He's fallen.
And this happened after the last podcast. He traded away Mark Ingram. That could have been suspect move of the week, I
should
think.
have been. I know.
But we're obviously past week 3. Last week was going to be week 3. Yes, we're past week 3
Right.
now, so we can't count that one.
So we're teasing it, but it's
We're
not
teasing
going to be
but
it,
it just can't,
unfortunately.
you can't take it all the way.
We bailed you out touchdowns. You're lucky.
A very weird move. I think that pretty much kills his running back depth. But I think especially with Le'Veon, we went without a QB. I think that's really going to be huge.
Yeah.
Teams are keying on him. So I think that he definitely takes a huge step back after the first, week 1. He just went off. I mean, we're really high on this team. I think we kind of overreacted.
I think that could have been overreaction. Overreaction Wednesday. It's kind of a new
Wednesday,
bit.
we're
We're
at-
trying to get a copyright.
4th week.
Recycling Bin also stands out to me. He's 3-0. There's 3 3-0 teams left.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being on the show. The other Johnny, and then the other one Recycling Bin. I think out of the 3, for me, a lot of that. The obvious answer is Johnny. Maybe is the most surprising one. But I think I was going to say McCaffrey. Recycling Bin for me is the most surprising because we've kind of looked. I know I have personally ways to draft in an auction style, and I've never really thought just drafting 3 studs worked. But Recycling Bin is going to show so far.
Well, does it though? I mean, I don't want to put him on blast. He's got wins. Tyreek Hill getting injured when you heavily invest, that there's 2 sides to it. One guy's getting an advantage right now, and one guy kind of got screwed. Could turn around.
But it's a little different though, because I drafted for example Marlon Mack as my RB2, who's actually playing as opposed to Raheem Mostert, who is gonna probably not be playing when Kevin Coleman comes back. I think the biggest thing for Simon Ben is that Julio's probably been the best player in fantasy. I think so far he has scored every single week.
I think
had huge games. Mark Andrews obviously playing super well, a $1 player playing that well. It's just huge.
I think it helps that the guy named Matt Ryan out of Boston College realized, I have a 6'4", 6'5" dude that can jump and just is sheerly better than everybody. I can throw it to him in the red zone. Julio, top 3, top 2 right now. And it's just working out for him. I like the move.
And Russell Wilson's been really, really good so far.
So really that drafting the 3 top tier players, then some of it's luck. Like Mark Andrews, did we all think he was going to be a top 5 tight end? Kamara might. He's got very good insight.
I got very good sources down there in Baltimore.
So, but more it's just you kind of fill in the other pieces and you got to kind of work that waiver wire. Because, this last week he inserts Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah.
He gets 23 points out of it. So if you can kind of work that waiver wire, I think that strategy does work as long as those big 3 don't get hurt, obviously.
Yes.
Then that really hurts you. But those are kind of our big reactions to week 3. We're going to kind of turn the page now, move on to week 4. We don't really like to dwell in the past here on the Hawk. So we're going to week 4. For some of us, McCaffrey himself, I think, wants to get there a little quicker than maybe Kamara likes to sit on that 3-0 start. But what we're going to do is kind of go through some quick pickups first that we noticed in our league that kind of jumped out to us. Obviously, I think the first biggest one that McCock did was spend some of that cash, $52 worth, I believe, on someone by the name or something by the name of Wayne Gallman.
Well, I kind of want to hear your thought process on that, buddy.
Here's my thought.
Okay.
Let me just pull up his team real quick. Looking at Johnny. He's doing well. No, he's doing well. I think, though, looking at his running back situation, we know Melvin's coming back, right? He's coming back. But before we knew that, I was thinking he would reach out in search of a running back by the name of Wayne Gallman, possibly. And if that didn't happen, either way, I still have a running back that will start for 4 to 8 weeks.
Did we feel the 52 was a stretch, or?
There's not many fantasy pickups that I feel like are big pickups, potentially, or 0 point guys, whatever. Throughout the season, I just took the risk on it. Last year, it worked out decent with Calvin Ridley for not the entire season, but he finished pretty high. And so I'd say that adds to my track record of scoping out the market.
I just have one question here, but are you starting him over your 3 running backs you have now, though?
You know, looking at my team, gosh, I'm a little caught on. I can't get off the train of Todd Gurley. And Marlon Mack, I like his matchup, honestly. We just saw Dalvin shred them like some freaking cheese. It's going to be a game time decision, but I think I'm just too much of a sucker for Todd Gurley to start Wayne Gallman this week.
So let me get this 100% straight. You picked up a player with the idea of spiting Johnny.
No. I picked him up in the thought process that Johnny may reach out in search of the running back, in that scenario. And this is before Melvin Gordon was reinstated. I had good intentions, and honestly, if Johnny didn't want him, I have him as potentially a fourth back, which could pan out. I like Barkley, just wouldn't mind if his ankle was a little tight for 8 weeks.
I've noticed too in our league, it seems like guys, or when you have a winning record, or like Johnny's case, 3-0, I don't know if he'd necessarily be looking for a trade. I think people get confident where they're at. Now, obviously, he's had some injuries, but over the years at least, I don't think people trade as much when they have a winning record. When they have a losing record, they're kind of like desperate. They're like, I need to make a move, which, I feel
sense. That.
But how did we come up at the 52?
I thought somebody, I didn't really have too deep of a thought process here, but I figured somebody would go 50 and somebody else would think, well, shit, they're going to go 50, so I'll go 51. An example, probably Rupp and Poe. That seems like their kind of thing to do. And so I figured, I'll just secure him at 52.
Right. So that was kind of the biggest pickup. Any other ones that really were like, whoa, this could make an impact maybe on their team? Or what are we doing? Why are we picking up?
I thought it was kind of weird. Marquez Valdez-Scantling got cut last week, right before Sunday's game. Kind of had a good game. Got picked up for $16. It seems like I think that's going to be under the radar sneaky pick. That's my sneaky pick of the week.
Ooh.
I think I agree, and then I saw Recycling Bin finally cut ties with Geronimo Allison.
Well, who was that cut ties? Is that Recycling Bin?
Recycling Bin just let him go.
Wow, I did not see that. Oh.
It's blocked by your $52.
That
was the biggest one. The other one I kind of noticed was something by the name of Darrell Williams from the Kansas City Chiefs organization. I believe he's maybe the 6th or 7th running back on that depth chart. Now worked his way up to 1, 2, or 3. Johnny maybe didn't. His $50 bid on Wayne Gallman didn't go through. Looks like he spent about $16 on the one and only Darrell Williams, not to be confused from Daryl from The Office, from the warehouse. But I dropped Lat Murray.
Crazy.
He just tried to trade me him as of 10
And that leads me into my perfect story, which could fall in the suspect move. A couple weeks back, I was trying to trade the commissioner, David Njoku. Now, this was before we knew he broke his wrist or anything like that. So a day prior, I was trying to trade him. Then I just so happened to have to drop him. So it just, what comes around kind of goes around or whatever. Sometimes you're trying to make those deals and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I'm trying to basically rip this person off. I'm not starting this guy. David Njoku may heal up quicker sooner than later. But other than that, I don't really think there were any other major pickups that are going to be, hey, this is a season-changing one. Recycling Bid nabbed Chris Boswell for $0. But that leads us into our trade, correct?
Yes, big trade this week out of McCock Remy ties tent.
This guy is active.
Malcolm Brown for A.J. Green. Thoughts? Quickly, Shrewd Farms.
I want to say I mentioned that trade to him.
He did?
I believe Comerica also maybe mentioned it to him. I think it's a really good trade. I think Todd Gurley I mean, who knows what he's going to, they're basically not playing him. So maybe if they start playing him a little bit more, he gets re-injured again. I think it's just good depth for McCaffrey to have. Also, if he's looking to trade Todd Gurley, I mean, if I'm someone trading for Todd Gurley, I'm going to want both of them. I feel like a little bit more confident in that. AJ Green might not even play this year.
Yeah, he's not playing this week for sure, and like they already ruled him out.
The Bengals are 0-3. I mean, if they go to 0-4, are we really trying to rush back one of our best players? And AJ Green is too, at 31, 32 years old.
He's an old man.
Gets hurt every year, so I don't think it was a horrible trade.
I
Reaction from the league was maybe a little quick to McCaffrey's throat.
Kind of a relevant trade in my opinion, though.
Yeah, I don't really think it's like not going to really make that big of a difference. When you look at Johnny's bench, I think you see a lot of players that aren't on rosters or injured. AB Green, I mean, they would be good if they played, but the odds of them playing, I mean, aren't great. So trade, we all kind of agreed, not really
Not too big of a deal.
terribly relevant. That leads us then into our injuries from this past week. A couple of the impacts of these injured quarterbacks. What do we got here, Stefania?
Stefania Kamarica. We got Saquon Barkley at 48 weeks. Quick thoughts on that?
I think it's huge. I mean, the more we're hearing on that, it seems like it's closer to the 8 weeks. He's one of the best running backs, one of the best players in PPR overall. So I think that really is going to hinder Johnny here. Look for that team to start scrambling in the next couple weeks here, maybe reaching out for some trades.
Yeah.
Next injury.
I think a big one, and this is not really an injury, Melvin Gordon will be back. Not this week, but probably next week.
And what do we think on that? Like, does he step in and immediately Austin Eckler's done?
I think they're going to be splitting, and that's honestly like not like any sources or anything like that. I think that's just my gut feeling on that.
Yeah, I'd have to just say that Melvin, he has a huge upside. I'm cautious. I'd be cautious to start him for a couple weeks until we see that he has a solidified role. Because, like my partner over here, Kamarica, said, I worry that Eckler has played pretty well, and they might give him some love. And that definitely hurts his value.
I think
but
they like him too. They seem to really like Austin Eckler.
He's a gritty guy. Definitely, seems like
Reminds me of Darren Sproles back in the day.
he's like he'd be a Big Ten,
See,
Midwestern kind of guy.
Yeah, I was even going to say Mankato. I just had this weird feeling like I've walked past him in the hallways before, but
very average-sized man. I mean, pretty big and stocky, but like 5.
give him what?
Whatever.
5'10"?
Maybe. And so I think you might have seen him at Mankato actually.
5'10", 210, dripping wet,
It might have
soaking
been.
wet.
I think Minneapolis Ties actually had that.
I think they were trying to plug him, I want to say. I
Yes.
think they saw him.
Yeah. So I agree. Could have been seen.
Benjamin, any other big injuries that are going to impact our league or the NFL in general?
Tomorrow night's game, Jeffrey is playing. It looks like it.
Ooh.
Sean Jackson is out.
And that, I think, just really will impact Nelson
Aguilar.
Aguilar.
In their matchups against who again?
Of the Green Bay Packers. Jeffrey
Oh,
will not
wow.
do anything because
Who
Jair
was that?
Alexander is guarding him.
Who do they play again?
The Green Bay Packers.
I like the sound of that. What about injuries? About these injured quarterbacks? What did we see on their teams?
I think the Saints got a little, I'm not going to say lucky this week. They did score one special teams, one defensive touchdown. They were able to basically just hold the ball the rest of the game, which I think really helped Kamara, or Kamara, depending on how you say it. I think he's going to,
Depending on your nationality.
I think he's going to be fine. Michael Thomas didn't quite get the volume, but he did score. So I think overall, I don't think it's going to change a heck of a lot, and Brees will be back, sooner rather than later, obviously.
Yep.
Swinging over to the Steelers, I think the Steelers are kind of screwed. I do not like Juju whatsoever, Shrewd Farms. I think James Conner, his value is just depleted at this point, in my opinion. I think he doesn't do anything this week. I think we might have to consider cutting him.
Oh, wow.
We might have a new segment called the Cut Board.
Oh, God.
It's going to be players that are owned that need to be cut. I think, obviously, I'm very unbiased because this is the Hawk. I think the Steelers, they're in trouble for sure. I think San Fran's D is though a little underrated potentially, but
They played some bad teams.
And I mean, Rudolph doesn't look great. I think he just kind of I'm going to throw it up. Hopefully someone comes down with it. Like one of his touchdown passes, not to Juju, that one was a catch and run, but one of them, the guy was wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, if you miss that, suspect.
Yeah,
What do you think?
McCockfrey, I'm waiting for this. This seems very.
I'm not sold on their entire value of that team. I don't know. I know Gurley's a disappointment, but James Conner, he worries me a lot for. He was looked at as a higher value, and so I'm kind of worried about the Steelers.
James Conner, bad at football.
Well, I'm not gonna say he's bad.
Great guy though.
Great guy. Hey,
Guys,
great
survived cancer.
Great teeth. Great teeth. That being said, drum roll please. This brings us into the all-inclusive category of suspect move of the week. Now, last week was pretty good. This week
Maybe not quite as good.
doesn't live up to the hype.
But
McCockfree.
he's been practicing this in the mirror, kid you not, for the last 4 hours. It's crazy. You know the rules. 90 seconds on the clock. Giving you up the count of 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
You know, this man, he comes at my players last year. One of the top position ranked players, might I add. I think he was, I'm just going to spitball number 3. And he just wanted to blast this man all year, even though touchdown after touchdown, corner routes, might I add. Top 20 drafty back in that, I think it was 2014 draft. My guy, Droggins, Daiquiri? I don't know what that is. Whatever. The fact that he has the audacity to pick up Eric Ebron just because his dude kind of got injured, banged up. I think that's pretty disrespectful, and that's very suspect to me that he's going to do that and boast about it in the group chat. So, Droggins, Daiquiri, you need to drop Ebron for the disrespect you put on his name last year. You're a suspect team and a suspect manager for that move. I'm sorry. No personal feelings, involved.
You've been suspectified.
Wow.
Daiquiri.
1 minute and 14 seconds. That's
Yep.
pretty good.
Thank you.
And that was your suspect move of the week.
Thank you.
You have been suspectified. Also, we want to give a quick score update. The Twins are winning. I believe it's 5-1 now.
Yeah, 5-1.
Cleveland is losing 3-1. I believe, if my sources tell me correctly, if we win tonight, Tim Kirchin said we will clinch if Cleveland loses.
Well,
fact check that.
Fact check.
Fact check
If
that.
we win and the Indians lose, we are
Clinch
in
the Central tomorrow.
The magic number is 0. With
Wow.
a win and a loss tonight.
So, give it to me like I'm 4 years old. What does that mean? The magic number is...
Well, you can't do
It
that.
means we clinch the AL Central and we're in the playoffs.
Whoa.
So, you were just... If you guys were watching us Facebook Live, this man was just shaking his head at me. And I was getting to that.
You did not throw in that the Indians were going to lose, though, in that statement.
Well, when I said the Indians were down 3-1, I think it was kind of assumed. Our viewers are a little more logical than
I
that.
think one thing that we should point out is, talking the good old baseball, next week, at this time when we're doing our podcast, baseball's on, playoffs. Nothing like it.
Yeah,
Tune in to our other
viewers-
podcast.
The Fantasy Baseball Podcast. We got a lot of views, up to 2 views last week.
Bev,
2 views.
what's our name on that? It's 4333.
The cock.
The cock, the hawk,
No,
and
no.
the cock.
The
No,
dirty
but-
cheese. We've
No,
kind
no,
of
no,
been
it's
throwing
like the
names
chicken
around.
Cock, like the chicken cock. Now, I know what you were thinking.
Suspect.
Will
Okay.
do.
All right, let's get into it.
We're
Let's
getting a
get
little
into
off
the nitty-gritty.
subject
All
here.
right.
We're going to probably our favorite behind suspect move of the week, questions to the commissioner, and Boomer Bust. It's matchups of the week. What we're going to go through here is each matchup, a couple of big things that stand out to each of us, and also, obviously, we're going to pick our winners. I'm going to update the fans on, first of all, our records coming into this week. I've made some headway after starting off very, very poorly. I'm now to 9-9, 500. Not great, not terrible. Not great, not terrible. Doesn't really make sense. Big Ben and Ty are tied at the top, 10-8. I'm a game back. Shout out to our guest last week going 2-4.
Oh, you are not getting
great.
returned.
You will not return. Just kidding. We did enjoy the touchdowns on. We unfortunately did not have a guest this week. It's going to
Everyone's
happen.
very busy.
Everyone's very busy. But we hope to get a guest back in next week. But with that, let's jump in to the matchups of this week.
And the matchups this week are presented to you by Monster Rehab. Have you guys ever had a bad night out at the bar and you blacked out, almost died, puking your guts out, and you wake up the next morning and you don't know what happened and you're really hungover? Wow, me too. Crazy. Honestly, Monster Rehab is the best rehab drink you can possibly have to cure your hangover. Visit www.monsterenergy.com/products/monster-rehab/thehawk for your free case of 12.
And further purchases, 20% off. So think about that. Great deal, great product. You've heard it here from a non-biased source.
And someone who's used it before.
Oh, yes.
And 0 calories, we might say.
0 calories.
That being said, shout out to Rehab. We are going into the first matchup of the week. Not the matchup of the week, but the first matchup we're looking at. We got Po-Top Colin Bottom, a.k.a. the Commish, versus Team Trax. Comerica, lead us off.
Oh,
wow, this matchup would be very yucky next week, I think, but Eckler still has a starting job this week, so I think it's actually going to be pretty dang close. I don't think there's a lot of firepower on each team overall. I would say that Cooper Kupp under the radar has been really, really, really good this year, and I think he's going to be the key for Con overall. I think this entire season he continues to play really, really well and provide that wide receiver 1 value that maybe he's hoping to get out of maybe Chris Godwin. He didn't really draft that a super great stud at any position except for maybe Joe Mixon, but he's been a huge disappointment. So I think that overall Cooper Kupp biggest factor, and then I think Eckler, if they're going to be using Melvin, I think this is the week where they kind of run Eckler into the ground, I think. So I think that he could have a huge week against Miami, who is probably the worst defense in the league. So I think overall, I think Trax takes this one. Pretty slim margin though. I'm going to say 118.4 to 117.8.
All right. Well, I couldn't disagree more. Jacoby Brisket, don't love that matchup. Just because I think he's not a good quarterback, and Oakland, they're going to somehow get to him, just sacking him. Devontae Freeman, inconsistent, don't love him. Eckler, yeah, he's going to get his. OBJ, I think it's a slow game for OBJ, though. I don't think you see the volume you'd like of him. Lockett, I think he'll have an average game. The one player, or the one position I really hate, though, the Saints start against Dallas. Dak Prescott is going to shred that team and that defense. I'm looking at Po-Top, Colin Bottom. Don't even need to look at his players' matchups. I'm just strictly going with a 118 to a 97 for Trax.
Disrespect.
Hold on, can I ask one question quick? You were that team and that defense, so does he play against the offense too?
Well, he might. You never know what's
That was
happen.
a suspect statement right there.
Okay.
True. What do you think?
This matchup is an interesting one to me. I think it'll be one of the closer ones of the week. Like you kind of mentioned, not a ton of firepower in this matchup. Each team has their studs. But then I think it kind of comes down to those fill-in type players like the Will Fuller on Po-Top, Colin Bottom, that side. And
wait for him to pop off one of these weeks.
Wait for that man to pop off. And then for Trax, I think it's Josh Gordon. I kind of hate on Devonta Freeman a lot, but he's kind of the workhorse there more. It seems like they're not splitting as much as they did when they had Tevin Coleman there. Don't mind Devonta Freeman. I think this, like I said, this matchup is going to be close, but I do really like Cooper Kupp. I think his help, if he's available all season, I think that's really going to give Po-Top, Colin Bottom a pretty good season overall, because I think Joe Mixon kind of turns it around. He usually seems to kind of turn it on towards the end of the year. I'm taking Po-Top, Colin Bottom in this one. I'm going to go 110 to 103. I don't think it's very high scoring, but I think it is going to be a closer matchup.
All right. I love
for
that. I like
one.
that take.
So the Commish, give me some bonus points. I'm picking you in this one. The next matchup we're going to go to then is the Recycling Bin versus the Rick Rangers. This is one of our undefeated teams and fan favorite, the Recycling Bin, McCockfree.
I love this matchup. Rick Rangers, I think he just has a slow start to the season. I don't hate that team at all. I mean, we know Mike Evans had a terrible first 2 weeks. Last week, freaking nearly drops a 50 bomb in the first half. Obviously not going to see it probably again this season, but shows he's alive. Recycling bin, I love the Russ start, obviously, but against that Arizona defense, David Johnson, I think he's coming from behind. You know, it's going to be a Rick Rangers 124, Recycling 118.
I like how you like this against the Arizona defense. So that you just stop
I love
talking.
how you fill in. You know, our viewers can fill in the blank. Are they tenacious? Are they a liability out
Well,
there? It's
you know,
just that Arizona D.
I'm trying to get interaction with the audience and make sure they think about it. I mean,
We do this for the fans.
we do it for the fans.
It's the
That's
Hawk.
what- I want you to think about it, you know? Don't want to just tell you what to think.
True, I can let you have the floor with this one.
Yeah. Now this one opposite of Potop Team Tracks that matchup. I think this will be one of the higher scoring of the week. I think both of these teams going into this week have fairly decent matchups, but they look like they have a lot of firepower. That I don't even know his name. Is it Darren Waller?
Yep.
D Waller is what it's showing on my end here.
They call him the Walrus.
I think he's been one of the bigger surprises. Him and the other tight end going across from him in this matchup, Mark Andrews, two of the biggest surprises for me at the tight end position. When we're going into this year, it's, hey, there's 2 or 3 tight ends that are going to be relevant. The rest are going to suck. These two really have put their name kind of on the tight end position this year. I like that matchup between the both of them. In this matchup, though, I'm leaning more towards Recycling Bin. I think he keeps getting production out of Julio Jones. Tennessee's D seems to sometimes be semi-decent, maybe in the years past, but we did see the Jags and Mr. Minshaw, whatever you say, however you pronounce his name, kind of carve up that defense last week. So I think Julio Jones will have another big week. I'm curious to see what Mike Thomas does against Dallas. That is a primetime game. I think the New Orleans Stars, Comerica, Thomas will show up. I do like Recycling Bin in this matchup. I think it's going to be a close one. I think 135 for Recycling Bin. I think Rick Rangers puts up a good fight. Dak Prescott should have a good game against New Orleans. I'm going to go 120.
Wow, I like that. Now I don't have a ton to add here. I think on the biggest key, and so I'm picking Recycling Bin in this one to start off kind of by saying that. Biggest key for him, 2 things. I think the Arizona and Seattle game is going to be a shootout, and I think that kind of plays into both of like I said, like Kamara just shreds Seattle. I think David Johnson does the same. And I think Wilson is going to have to throw because for some reason their running backs are kind of playing like crap. Their defense isn't playing well. And I also think Nelson Aguilar, because I have a soft spot for Jair. Jair will be on Jeffrey, I'm assuming. I think Aguilar will probably be the one getting like that high volume, which is really good for PPR. Opposite side, I think the biggest thing is Chubb playing at Baltimore. I think it's not going to be it's not a great matchup. And I think that Chris Carson's going to be probably the biggest reason why Eric loses a few weeks here and there, because it seems like he's kind of had like really bad like time with turnovers, and like the Seattle like running backs seem to kind of like just fluctuate based off like how Pete Carroll's feeling that day, kind of a thing.
He does have 4 fumbles on the year. Fact check it.
So I think that overall, I think this is going to be close. I think it's going to be high scoring, like you said, Mike, 130 to 122.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see like what Mike Evans does coming off of that week, because it seemed like they were like, okay, we're getting him the ball. He hasn't been like terrible coming in that week. You know, a couple catches. I think he had like 6 or 7 the week before.
I'm throwing this out there. I think Evans will have a good game, but I only think because I think the Rams are going to blow out Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah, I think so too, and I could see him
home.
Scoring a touchdown late in the game when it's it's 35-14 or something like that, 35-10 at that point. Yeah, I agree with that as well. But yeah, one of the more exciting matchups as well. That one should be high scoring, kind of back and forth. We're going now to one of the co-hosts matchup here. McCock-free.
Ties 10, but yes.
Ties 10. I'm going to keep going McCock-free. The viewers seem to really like that. Versus the newcomer, we will let McCock lead in with this one.
You know, it's
The dark times.
it's dark over here.
Is this a must-win week?
I'm not gonna say it's must win, but it's a very strong need to win. It pains me in this matchup that I have to go against DeAndre Hopkins, because damn, do I love DeAndre Hopkins. Bears D, I don't see them doing much against the Vikes as far as like we're gonna score our points. We know they're gonna get their sacks, so he'll get points off of that. I'd say the Bears defense gets 6, but 6 or 7, they're not dropping a 20 bomb. If they do, I'll probably cry. It all comes down to Gurley and Galladay. Gurley, if you don't figure your life out, I know what I'm getting from McCaffrey. Shank, probably getting those points. Mac, points.
Shank.
Yeah, we call him Shank or Shark Boy. Galladay and Gurley, please. Help me. I need it. I need Gurley to go for just something over 10. Goodness, Gurley. I'm gonna be bold here. A little reverse psychology. Newcomer takes the win. 152 to 125 for Ty's 10.
Wow.
And is that kind of a shot to the fact that everyone's been putting up a decent amount against
An
you?
average of 153, yes.
So newcomers dropping 152. What is the league high?
160.
It was last week.
No, it was 160. Was it 2 or 66 by Dirty Down?
I will fact check this while Benjamin gives us a great take on this.
I'm really not excited for this matchup. Honestly, I think it's gonna be very low scoring. Mainly just because I don't like McCaffrey or Ty Stemmer, whatever you want to call him. Outside of McCaffrey, I don't think this team's very good. No offense. I do think that KG does bounce back this week though, but I think that I just don't see them giving Gurley all those touches. I think when they're playing a bad team, I don't think they're Gurley run for 20 carries or whatever. But overall, biggest key to this matchup, I think, is going to be Sony Michel. Not a lot of firepower on newcomer outside of that big team. I think they're both going to perform this week. Hooper kind of came up big for him last week with 2 touchdowns. He's not going to be doing that every single week, so I think he needs Michel or more. And I think Michel's a little bit more likely to do that, and I think that he potentially gets going this week against Buffalo, which I think New England will blow them out, so he'll have some opportunities there. I think this is, like I said, low scoring, 110 in favor of newcomer, and then McCaffrey at 96.
Oh, the disrespect. The league high is touchdowns. He probably was screaming at us when we couldn't figure out. He put up 167 week 1.
So I said 166.
Just so happens to be against, I believe, McCaffrey.
I think I have 3 of the top 4 scorers against me, actually.
That could be the case.
That's not possible because we've had only played 3 weeks.
And as Ben would say, score more points.
Score more points, my friend.
I will look at this matchup here, and I see kind of some similarities between both teams. Both have that big name running back, McCaffrey, Elliott, kind of a wash there. I think even Sony Michel and Marlon Mack, not great PPR running backs by any means. They get a lot of carries. Michelle kind of hit or miss here with carries, it seems like, but they don't get a lot of catches. And then DeAndre Hopkins, I think, will have a very big week here. I think Zeke does what he usually does here. I don't think Hooper, though, by any means is going to do what he did last week. I think Hooper is kind of one of those guys every 3 or 4 weeks is going to do that, and then he'll kind of go dormant for a couple weeks. He'll still be a top 10 tight end just because he'll have a couple of big weeks here in a row. But I like that Phillip Rivers at Miami. I think he's going to throw 3 or 4 touchdowns, which makes the big difference in this. I see Matt Ryan maybe throwing a touchdown or 2. So I'm going newcomer as well. It's a clean sweep for him. I will go 115 newcomer. I will go 104 for Ty's tent as it's showing up on my screen now. I think Ty's tent goes to 0-4. I think he ships McCaffrey after this week as well, or Gurley. Keep an eye on that. We'll keep you posted if we see that happening, but I'm going newcomer in that one as well. Going to another team that is going to try to stay out of the depression mode, Pump and Dump versus Drogan's. I like the new name, Drogan's Daiquiri.
Daiquiri, yes.
I like that. Keeps kind of tropical. I will start with this one. I think Pump and Dump has been a little unfortunate this year. Gets Keenan Allen, puts up 40 plus, then just so happens to be going against Mike Evans. That does suck. Should have scored more points. Pump and Dump. In this matchup here, I think Pump and Dump's luck, not luck, but his unlucky streak continues. I think Drogan's Daiquiris. I think Pat Mahomes gonna put up his 30 like he usually does. Detroit's D has Well, Detroit.
Darius Slay.
But I don't know if Darius Slay I know he got hurt last week, so maybe he's not playing. But maybe, well, we don't really care about defense here. I don't think Pat Mahomes cares about defense this year. I think he still puts up 30. And then I think Leonard Fournette finds the end zone here in that one. I don't think Montgomery does much against Minnesota, but I think he'll score a touchdown as well. So I'm seeing a lot of touchdowns out of Drogon's Daiquiri's side here. But T.Y. Hilton, we didn't touch on that a ton in the injuries portion. If he does play, I love me some T.Y. Hilton. He's been playing great this year. Eric Ebron, does he score a touchdown? Probably, because he's against Pump and Dump here. I'm not going to go through the rest of the list. I do like Pump and Dump's team. James Conner has been horrendous this year. I think that continues. I think O.J. Howard gives one of his donut games this week. I'm going Drogon's Daiquiri, puts up 135. I think Pump and Dump keeps it close, 125.
Wow. Well, I'm kind of in the same boat on you on this one because I think that, like Keenan Allen obviously is playing insanely well. I think that the players that Pump and Dump's like kind of shipped into his line, Matthew Stafford and Lindsey, I think because they played so well last week, I think they're going to kind of underperform this week. I think Detroit gets their socks blown off this week and kind of gets woken up because I don't think they're that good, honestly. And I think Lindsey against Jacksonville, that's just not a good matchup. Like Lindsey needs to kind of play against a team where he won't get touched for, like 20 yards to be effective. So I think that's going to be the ultimate key in this one. If those guys can perform, I get Pump and Dump the edge here, but just because he's playing Doc and we were I'm kind of like letting us in on a little bit of confidential information. We were hating on Doc's team, me and Poe, in a little bit of texting action earlier today. So I think Doc pulls us out. Big day out of Fournette. Big day out of T.Y. if he plays, and Ebron. 128, 126.
Damn. Look at the matchup. I actually go the other way with Matt Stafford. I think he's coming from behind. But that also means that Pat Mahomes is scoring his points. Pat Mahomes still going to outscore Stafford, but Stafford will do, I think, fairly well. It hurts to say it, I don't love Dalvin against Chicago. But like my co-host said, David Montgomery, I think he finds end zone late in the game. Couple yard run. He's not going to break his 60-yard or anything like that. Leonard Fournette will roll somehow into the end zone. James Conner, if Pump and Dump wants to win, James Conner needs to figure his life out because O.J. Howard and Phillip Lindsay are not helping that starting roster. I'll tell you that. Dragons, it's going to be a low-scoring matchup, but Daiquiri's, it's not low-scoring. I'm going to go 118 to 113.
In favor of the Dak, man?
The Daiquiri, yep.
Ouch. Pump and Dump. That is a dark place to be. Very dark place to be. We will go then to my matchup here. Schrute Farms coming off his first big win of the year against the touchdowns. I will let Comerica start this one off.
I'm just going to put it plain and simple. I think Schrute Farms blows out Downs this week without, obviously, Le'Veon and George Kittle this week. I just don't think he has the firepower this week. Especially I think Chicago, Minnesota is going to be kind of one of those very grind out kind of game, 10-7 game. I don't see Thielen doing much, and honestly I think Thielen's probably his best bet to win this week. I think he's probably the key along with Henry, because honestly there's not a lot of firepower like I said. On the other side we got the Green Bay Packers and Schrute Farms. We have about 16 players of the Packers in this starting lineup. I think that Tay Adams figures his life out this week. I think he finds the end zone. I think it's going to be kind of key to look at Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, that dynamic going forward after this week. But I think Aaron Jones has an okay game this week. But overall, I think your team's just a little bit better. Over with just the stars you have: Tay Adams, Cooper, Juju, and Jones. 125, 86.
Oh!
In favor of Schrute Farms.
Touchdown was disrespectful.
Well, I thought their Downs projected a solid 108 this week.
Oh, goodness, that hurts. Wow, I'm going to jump right in on this one. Downs, I just don't ever like a team starting Jason Witten at tight end. I know times are dark, trust me. But, woof. I think the Chiefs' defense, I don't know what he's looking for out of them, but I think Detroit's going to pass a decent amount on them. They might get an interception or sack, but I don't think they score much for him. Rodgers is going to victimize this Philadelphia defense. And So for that reason, I still don't think it's a high-scoring matchup. I agree with Comerica in the sense that Downs doesn't break 100. I'm going to have to go with 105 to 91 in favor of Schrute Farms.
Ouch. That's all I have to say to touchdowns. I'm not trying to be too overly confident, but it just so happens like two of his best players, I want to say, are on bye. I did catch him at the right time. I do have, yes, like 60% of my lineup roughly is Packers. Just so happened to pick up Mason Crosby this week. Some keys like Ben had mentioned. I'm curious to see first what Adam Thielen does. If he can get 7 or 8 catches and maybe a score, I think that's a huge difference maker in this matchup. I'm just curious to see how the Vikings are going to do against that Chicago Bears defense, because if they can't run, they're going to obviously have to throw the ball, so that maybe gives Adam Thielen some more love in that sense there. But then other than that, Tyrell Williams for the touchdowns has been very good this year. I think we kind of all expected that after Antonio Brown left. They don't really have anyone else to throw other than I think that's why someone by the name of D. Waller is getting a lot of catches. But other than that, Jason Witten is in this lineup. I was looking to pick him up last week. I just so happened to pick up someone by the name of Will Dissly, and I'm very high on him. I don't know about my counterparts, but I really do like this Dissly fellow from Seattle. He is a ginger. Love gingers. But other than that, I think Devontae Adams finally gets a better matchup. He's had some very tough matchups the first 3 weeks of the season. So when he starts kind of getting closer to that 20-point range each week, I'm very confident in my team here. I think Schrute Farms wins this one, 120 touchdowns. I will not disrespect you. I think you put up 100.4 points this week in the loss to Schrute Farms. With that being said, that leads us to the matchup of the week. We came up with this matchup of the week based off of solely these teams are both 3-0. The winner of this probably going to be the best team in the league based off of our power rankings by Mr. Austin Poe, who probably will stop doing them after this week when he loses and goes to 0-4. Who, again, is our matchup of the week brought to you by?
Well, I want to ask you a quick question before I say the sponsor. Quick joke for you, Tyler. What's the difference between the first honeymoon and the second honeymoon?
I don't know, Mr. Comerica.
The first honeymoon is Niagara. The second honeymoon, Viagra. Viagra has all your ED needs. I know a few people in the league have a little trouble with that, so I kind of want to plug them here. Visit Viagra.com, plug in your code TheHawk to get your free
first bottles.
First supplement.
We haven't had that in this household, but we do
just trying
know,
to plug it to help out the league.
We know a guy by the name of Potop Colin. Somebody bought him. I don't know who that is.
Sounds painful.
Yeah.
I will jump into our matchup of the week. Now, both teams are 3-0. But Johnny's team is crippled. I'm going to say that right off the bat here. I'm leaning very heavily towards the side of the United State of Comerica. Sounds kind of like a dictatorship, but I think he relies a lot. I think Alvin Kamara is going to do big things in that primetime game against Dallas. I love Deshaun Watson this year. I think between the two, that man's going to get probably 50 to 60 points, which is huge for his team. Kelsey adds, like it seems like every week, another 15 to 20. That already puts this team in the 70 to 80 point range each week. And then Mr. McLaurin might not have been drafted, but probably the best pickup so far this year. I think we can all agree. How much was he picked up for?
Just about 40.
Just about 40. You've heard that right. I don't think Tariq Cohen does a ton against Minnesota, but I do think he gets a couple of catches, which really helps when it's PPR. He's going to get right around that 10-point range. Going to Johnny quick, Emmanuel Sanders, will he be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey, do we think? Yes or no?
No. Ramsey, first of all, called in sick beginning of the week.
Yes, he did.
Now he is attending the birth of his child possibly this weekend.
So we are assuming he is not going to play.
Depending. We have no idea.
It's pending, the whole baby situation.
And then looking quick at the Giants duo in Evan Ingram and Sterling Shepard, I do not think they do what they did last week. I think that was kind of one of the outliers of the season. I think they'll have a good game, but by no means do I think both of them are catching touchdowns and going. I think they were close to 100 yards, both of them, if not over. I know Evan Ingram was on that. I like United State of Comerica pretty handily in this one. I'm going 145, league high this week. Johnny, I mean, I think he puts up a good fight. Lamar Jackson, I think, comes back, but I think he puts up about 120. I'm going United State. McCockfree, what do we got?
I really like the matchups for a lot of players in this, and I think that's going to really elevate the score. Love Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram against that Cleveland defense. I think they're just going to have a solid amount of points between the two of them. I'm going to say at least 40 points between Lamar and Ingram. Not a huge stretch.
Put it on the board.
Not a huge stretch, but it's there. I like Ingram. I'm not going to say I like Shepard because I don't, but I like Ingram for sure against that Washington D. Then flipping over to Comerica, Deshaun, he is going to run all over their defense in Carolina. He will pass too, but he is going to go for a couple yards on the ground. Kamara absolutely crucifies that Dallas defense. Not crucifies, but he has to show up for them to have a chance. Cohen gets his points on receptions, not a lot of yards, but it's PPR. Kelsey does his thing. I think John Ross kind of does enough. And I'm going to go with a pretty high-scoring affair. 143 to 137. Sadly, in favor of Comerica.
And
I don't know
the
why
take
that's
we've
so.
been waiting for all week, Mr. Comerica.
I think this is a blowout. I'm going to eviscerate Johnny this week.
Wow. Love the confidence.
I think overall, the Ravens, I think, are kind of coming off their high from the beginning of the year in terms of their offense. I don't think that necessarily Lamar is going to be dropping off like crazy, but I just think that when you start the year with Miami, probably the worst team in the league, followed with Arizona, probably it's been like bottom 3 defense.
Probably the second worst team in the league.
So overall, I think they're coming out their high for the year. I think Cleveland is kind of playing like they've been kind of like struggling. I think they're coming out a little like angry and playing. They're going to play them really tough. I think it's kind of a low scoring game. It's a division game again. But I think that overall the star power is more on my team, like favoring my way, including Scary Terry, my dog. I think that overall I just had the better matchups too. Not saying that like Marvin Jones playing KC, but it's also kind of like Detroit seems to kind of just choose who they're going to throw to every single game. Like Kenny Galladay had 8 catches in week 2 and had like 2 in week 3. So I think it's more like I said, a Kenny Galladay game this week. So I think overall 145 to 106.
Just ravishes.
Johnny.
And we can confirm Ben did say he will buy a Terry McLaurin jersey.
That
if
is
he wins
correct.
it all.
If I win it all, I will buy a Terry McLaurin jersey.
And if he loses, he did say he would buy is it Brett Maher?
I was thinking I would buy a Ronald Jones jersey. Or Darwin Thompson.
If he loses.
I think you should get an AB with Pitt jersey, actually.
Or Edo Smith. I love that guy. You get a Smith jersey.
Christian,
you get
man.
a Smith jersey for an Atlanta. I mean, that in the red, I don't think you can go wrong there. Those are our matchups of the week. I keep saying that, but that's the only way I can say it. Those are the matchups of the week and the matchup of the week. We are going to transition now into our boom or bust picks.
And before we begin, who is Boom or Bust sponsored by this week, Mike?
Boom or Bust is brought to you by the Red Solo Cup. It's the cup that keeps giving back. Grab a cup, fill it up with a gin and tonic this weekend, and watch the Vikings and the Bears go head to head. These NFC North, I'm just kidding, I'm not reading anything off. It is by Red Solo Cup, though. It's the cup that keeps giving back. We're going to jump into our boom or bust. I don't ever remember if we start with booms or busts.
We go booms first.
Let's go with the booms.
Let's go with the boom stick here. What do we got? McCockfree's never ready, so we're starting with him.
I'm ready to go. The guy, I think I might have put him up last week. I got to go with him here if I didn't. Will Fuller against Carolina.
That man is always a very popular
He's been
boom
brought
pick.
up like at least 2 of the 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
You can take him.
it's
No,
okay.
he hasn't boomed yet.
He's just been a letdown.
He's just a letdown.
Wow, all right. Well, I'm still going to rock with him. But I think he shows up this week. He does pretty well overall. And he kind of surprises you a little bit because he gets those deep touchdowns. I'm going with Will Fuller. Not a huge game, but
Give me his line.
4 catches for 152 and 1 touchdown in there. So
Also, we do like to, if we get one of these booms dead on, so if Will Fuller catches 4 passes for 152 yards and a touchdown, we will buy that man's jersey.
we do that, or it might go to the commissioner. We're still working through negotiations.
We're all wearing jerseys right now. Ben's got a Rex Ryan jersey on. Ben, what's your boom of the week?
Well, here's my thing. I think a boom from my squad.
You can. It's an unbiased take. here on the
Unbiased
Hawk.
take here on the Hawk. Terry McLaughlin is my pick. It's my boy. It's your boy, Terry McLaurin. But New York Giants has got eviscerated by Mike Evans last week, like just absolutely polarized. I think that Terry McLaurin continues that dominance over that secondary. I'm saying like a huge stat line here, like 7 catches, 213 yards,
Hold up.
3 touchdowns with a rushing touchdown on a end around.
So 4 TDs.
This man says dropping like 58 points.
It might even be more than that. Is correct me if I'm Janoris Jenkins still in that New York Giants secondary?
And he has been getting destroyed.
He has been getting exposed. I do not think anyone has picked a quarterback yet. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Nope.
Don't pick my guy.
Actually, they picked Josh Allen.
He did pick Josh Allen. I'm not going with Josh Allen. I'm going with someone that name starts with a J, Jacoby. Mr. Brisket is going against Oakland's D at noon on Sunday. You watch it here. That man is going to throw for 345. He's going to throw for 4 touchdowns. He's also going to rush one in. Probably only about 15 yards rushing. He'll have a fumble, but he will expose that Oakland Raiders defense. Don't worry, Connor. I did pick you to win still. So I'm just throwing that out there. Jay Brisket is going off against Oakland this week, which leads us into our busts of the week.
Comerica, would you like to start? Or you want me to start? I'm ready to
You
go.
Go for
All
it.
right, I'm at you on the ball this week, boys. Kerryon Johnson against KC. I know Kerryon hasn't balled out, but I think it's a bad week for him. I just see they're coming from behind against KC. They're throwing the ball. You're not getting the ball on the ground, buddy. You're going for 3.7 points total.
From a running back.
What about like the yards? What are you thinking here? Any fumbles? Any turnovers?
Because he
I think
sprained his ankle.
I think he's going to get 57 yards, but he has a fumble in there.
At the goal line.
I'm just going to say he's having a fumble. I mean, it might be, I think it's backed up actually. Not backed up too far, but like the 20-yard line, he fumbles that, and that leads to an easy Pat Mahomes touchdown.
I love that. And I'm going Ty's tent, unfortunately, my boy Shark. Like I said, everyone look at his profile picture. This man is going to be, the clamps are going to be put down on Mr. Shark here. Is his first name DJ?
It is. It's Dirty John.
Dirty John Shark is going to get the clamps put down on him. That man is going to have 3 drops against this Denver Broncos defense. He will have 1 catch for 17 yards. Put it on the board. Bust of the week, DJ Shark.
That's not even brought to you by Brazzers. Like that, Brazzers ain't even accepting that. Whoa.
Put it on the board. Comerica, wrap us up.
I'm going even more bold here. I am going once again to Ty's tent.
Oh boy.
Now this is like balls on the table, cards on the table, chips on the table. I'm going with Christian McCaffrey this week. At Houston, I think that we had a week of Kyle Allen, and I think that he is they played against probably the worst defense in the league again, Arizona, last week. I think that after a week of tape, I think that Houston comes out and ravages them by like 50.
Oh, wow.
And I think McCaffrey is going to because for some reason he was kind of taking out the game script when they lost to Tampa Bay for whatever reason. I just don't think they know how to coach with him. This is going to be so bold. I'm going to say he fumbles in this game too. 50 total yards, no touchdowns.
1 catch.
With 1 catch. So about 4 points there.
1 catch for negative 14 yards, though.
I think I heard
The screenplay gone bad.
I think I heard Newcomer say if that does happen, he will in fact buy my co-host Comerica a McCaffrey jersey. It's a little dirty, but I respect it. You know, he's trying to get
That's
free.
where you heard that from?
I did hear it from Our boy Bert Blyleven, actually.
Rocco Baldelli just confirmed.
Wow, crazy. Anyway, any thoughts on that, Young True Farms?
No, that is the bust of the week, I believe.
Presented by the Hub and Brazzers.
And Brazzers.
Which
we don't always
leads us
know.
into questions to the commissioner. My favorite little bit here that we have. I will raise the first question. I think we need an IR position in our league. I just do not know how you would do that. That's something the commissioner needs to chew on and figure out. But I think next year, I'm making a strong push for an IR spot on your bench. I just don't know how you do that, because do you put a guy that's like week to week on there? Are you able to? Or does your player, I'm thinking like Johnny's team specifically. He's got AJ Green now. That would be a perfect example, in my opinion, where you can put someone on there, because then you can keep picking up players.
You can set it so like if they are ruled out with like the out designation, you can put them on the IR spot.
So could it be 5 minutes before the game? I believe it can.
It could be. I don't know.
Like I said, we're going to let the commissioner chew on that, mull that over. But that's kind of my big thing, not to put any pressure on him, but we are putting pressure on you. We want an IR spot next year.
I also want to get rid of defenses. That's kind of the consensus right now.
Wow.
I think defenses are completely like.
I'm kind of changing my tune on that. I like this Packers squad.
I don't know. I just don't think that defenses should decide matchups, and I think that they've been kind of like been the difference between someone getting like 120 and like 140.
150 in the
So
case
do
of
we add
Connor
another
Johnson.
position or just take them out completely?
I think we take out defense. I think individual defensive player. I think is quite frankly worse than team defense.
It's terrible.
Because I think that they can be like your. Let's say you have Leighton Vander Esch gets his one touchdown for the week and you win by like 4. Like I think that would be the dumbest like thing ever.
Okay.
So
I think we should have Drogans
remove
on, and I think
defense
he likes defensive players.
and throw another flex in. Why not?
Okay. Well, mine isn't going to be that in-depth. Mine is just kind of maybe an under-the-radar shot at the commish. And this one is sponsored by Ruppy. You know, he's in there. I'm wondering if Potop Colin Bottom is going to alter the starting lineup of Team Tracks. We did see it a couple times last year. I could see him doing some things to try to sneak out this win, get to 3-1. I'm just worried, Kamish. Provide me some security on
Please
that.
give us some ease in that. Also, we would love to have newcomer Team Tracks on.
We might.
If we could find them, I don't know if they have access to technology out in the woods in the shack that they live out there on the fringe. But, really want to get in contact with them. So
Also,
if someone can reach out to them for us, that'd be phenomenal.
Or throw
Kamish, please confirm or deny if they listen to this. That is our last question for the commish. That wraps up this week's episode of The Hawk. We will see you all in court.